Hello there guys, and welcome to a playthrough of Zeewolf on the Amiga. I'm going to be loading up my Amiga emulator here, which is called Amiga Forever. This is a really good little app actually. I'd recommend it if you're into this kind of thing. Nice and easy to use. You don't need to be terribly techy to work out how to just get stuff running and that. It comes with a load of games. I've only downloaded a couple of these myself. And we are going to be playing Zeewolf from 1994. I think just here, if I open my Amiga files, I should have the, oh, here we go, there's the old pack shots. That brings back some memories for me. So yeah, 1994, Binary Asylum, very well received by the critics, all 90%, 91 from Games World. I think that was this bit just here that they liked. That was the extra 1% for them. Load of information on the back of the box. It's basically it's 3D third person helicopter combat. And well, before we actually get into the game and start talking too much, I just want to spend a minute going over the configuration that I made to play the game with, because when you first load this up, it just defaults to a stock A500 setup, which is a little bit chuggy. So I was trying to get the speed just about right, and my first thought was to try the 600 and the A1200 settings, and everything like that is just way too fast. And for various reasons that we may well talk about later, playing the game when it's running too fast is just a nightmare. It's horrible. Um, but anyway, the long and the short of it is that after, I don't know, maybe 2.5 hours of just fiddling around with all these different settings, I came across this combination which seemed just about perfect. So if you are running this, these are the things you want to take note of. Use A500 Plus. Most important bit is that you get this chipset right. It's the CO20 chipset, and have this on original speed. Make sure compatibility is on best, and then whack up these two bars and you're golden. So that said, let's load up the game. We are going to play with WinUAE because you can't full screen on WinFellow. So it starts off in a window, and make sure our audio is about right. It seems okay. Wow, this is the same cracked version that I used to have back in the day before I bought a copy. So, yes, 1994. I was 18 in 1994, and I'm not sure when it was, but David Braben, or Braben, I think it's Braben. David Braben, the guy who created the Elite games, came up with a game called Virus, also known as Zarch in some places. But yeah, Virus was kind of like a 3D take on Defender. And I think it was pretty popular, and these guys at Binary Asylum kind of took that idea of what he did with Virus and then just wanted to give it this kind of military helicopter overhaul and, you know, add some various mechanics and stuff. So written by Andy Wilton. Andy, if you're out there, this is one of my favourite games of all time. Thank you very much. And this is the important bit here, choosing controls. You can play it on a joystick, but the joy of this game, the reason that we're doing this video, is because the mouse control is what it's all about. This game is just absolute genius with a mouse. If there's much more to talk about, I'm sure we'll cover stuff as we go along, so I'm just going to jump in and you know, these first 10 or so missions will hopefully be simple enough that I can chat and play at the same time. So, as part of the company's ongoing campaign to eliminate combat fatigue, you're required to... Oh, okay, so this is just copy protection. As this is a cracked version, it doesn't matter, but if I had the manual, I would need to look up these three images. as it is, I'm sure I can just do that. There we go. My stress levels are well within normal limits, and I am cleared for general combat duties. Balls. So, mission briefing. Buffalo Hunt. Mission 1. 3 abandoned buffaloes are about to be captured by the enemy. I think they're like tanks. You must make sure they don't fall into enemy hands intact. The abandoned buffaloes are located at the marked site. There are 3 buffaloes. Destroy all 3. Simple enough. Seek and destroy all enemy ground units. There are 3 bears. So I think they're similar to buffaloes, but they're baddies. Baddies are green, goodies are blue. Is that it? Yep, that's it. So, let's have a look at the game. So, yeah, mouse control. If you play this on a joystick, I think it kind of plays like Desert Strike in the sense that you just push the direction that you want to go in, the helicopter flies in that direction. Like, you can't even change altitude or anything, it's very kind of basic. But with the mouse, this is just beautiful. And I fell in love with this game straight away, and I've probably been back to it at least every, I don't know, couple of 3 years ever since. At this point, it's probably been 3 or so years since I last played it. And I think in all my time with the game, I've only actually finished it once, and I am aiming for this series to be like a full playthrough if possible. Not sure if I'll be able to do that, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, the helicopter itself then, you just use such tiny little mouse movements to get this to do what you want. And as I'm moving the mouse in a particular direction here, I can get it to rotate and face that direction. And if I move any more than that tiny amount, if I just go a little bit over that, then it won't just face that direction, it will tilt in that direction and start flying that way. But even so, those movements are still very small to get it to tilt, and the more you push in a particular direction, the more it tilts. And as helicopters tend to do, once it starts gaining forward momentum, it also starts losing altitude. So you have to then ease back so that you don't crash, and as it starts gaining altitude again, you can add more tilt to keep your speed going. And that's one of the beautiful kind of, you know, there's like a basic risk-reward system going on when you're just flying around, which is, like, if you want to fly fast, you kind of have to fly low because of the way this works. And that in itself is very satisfying, because as you practice and get better, it means you are able to maintain low altitude and high speed more and more consistently. As I said, I haven't played this for 3 years, so it may take me a while to get back into it, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, let's get on and do this mission then. I don't think there's anything else you really need to know at this point. We can just cover stuff as we go. I will just show you my weapons. We have got a cannon, which looks like this. We have got some rockets, only 10 of them. They look like that. And we have air-to-air missiles, although our stock is currently 0. But they're basically heat seekers, you know, they'll lock onto air targets and track them pretty damn well. We can see on the mini-map there on the top left, we have a red cross. That is an enemy unit. So that'll be one of those green tanks. They're not like tanks, they don't have proper big tank cannons. You can see they've got these smaller turrets, and they fire these, I guess they're like 50 cals or something. As you can see, the tank tracks quite slowly on the turret. He's still pointing in the wrong direction as he's trying to turn towards me, so he's not posing a huge threat to me at the moment. And these, you know, obviously this is the first mission, so this is pretty much by and large a tutorial, I guess. Although it doesn't actually tell you much, you're just kind of left to figure it out once you're in the game. But regarding shooting things, the cannon will lock on to enemies within a certain range of the nose. Maybe, I don't know, 10-20 degrees. But even though there is some lock on there, you still have to do a good job of pointing your nose at the enemy, or else you will miss. And those 3 yellow crosses at the top there will be our 3 friendlies. You'll also notice that I've got this targeting camera in the top right. It's currently blank, but as I approach this next enemy, you'll see that when I get within range, he will appear in the targeting area, the top right. There he is. And once that's there, once you see them in the targeting camera, you're in no way guaranteed to hit them. That's not what it means. It just means that you're in range to hit them. but you still have to point your nose at the enemy to actually get that little bit of lock going. And the cannon seems to lock most consistently, and in general, like locking enemies can... That was terrible shooting. Locking enemies, it varies from enemy to enemy. Some are very easy to lock onto, some not so easy. See if we can get a couple of rocket hits before we run out of them. A little bit strange that we have to kill 3 friendlies in the opening mission, but there you go. Right. Got a couple of hits. We've run out of rockets, so let's just finish this up. We'll try and get 5 or 6 missions done in this first video, so I'm just planning to zip through these fairly quickly. I think around mission 10 perhaps it starts to get a little bit challenging, and then once you get to about, you know, 15, 16 onwards, that's when the difficulty really kicks in. And I think there's 32 missions in all. So we get a little results screen here. Gives us a fire control rating. Be worth keeping an eye on that, see if we're improving or not. Generally 50% is kind of the benchmark. Like when you're playing not too bad, it'll be over 50%. When you're doing especially well, it'll be over 60. Oh yeah, and we earn money as well. The money's a bit weird because you need money to buy extra ammo, but compared to what you make, the money you spend is just absolute pennies. So I think the money is kind of like your score, kind of keeping track of how well you're doing. Pressing on then, mission 2, 4 little pigs. 4 of our men have been captured by the enemy and are being held in 2 camps. Get in there and bring our boys home. Oh bugger, I didn't look at the rest of the briefing. I accidentally pressed the mouse button, which skips the briefing. So this will probably be a good chance then to have a look at our tactical display. Here we can go through our objectives. We've got some POWs to rescue, damaged buildings to release prisoners. And you can see we've got 4 green flashy things on the map there. We also can land on X to offload personnel. That's our carrier up in the top right hand corner there. And it looks like that's pretty much it. This is just a POW rescue. So yeah, obviously the game's introducing us to some concepts that we need to understand at this point. Some files to take out. So I locked onto one of the buildings by accident there instead of one of the tanks. And there's a POW, little blue guy. We blow up the buildings to release them, as per instructions. Now we can press the G key to get our landing gear out. And just before we land, we need to just add a little bit of throttle to make the landing soft. So my left mouse button is my fire button. The right mouse button gives me a squirt of extra throttle. Very useful for extra speed and evasive maneuvers, but it uses a lot of fuel using throttle. So you save it for when you need it. So we've got 2 more that we can rescue up here. And the carrier should be to the east. 2 more hostiles up here. Let's try some rockets again. See if we can actually get some hits. Go. So generally, on the large majority of units, 2 rockets is a kill. If you fire too long when you're doing this, you will accidentally kill the POWs. It's very easy to do. So a little squirt of throttle just there. And that ensures that you don't take any damage by accident as you land. Find this carrier. I'm going to try and explain all the mechanical stuff as early as I can, because once this game really gets going, it's probably going to be quite tricky to chat and play at the same time. But I'll tell you what, this is just lovely, just flying around, you know. This, like I said, I've been back to this game quite regularly, and it's not just nostalgia. You know, the game holds up. And even just, you know, I think, like when I first started playing it, just the way the helicopter moves and controls, I just instantly fell in love with, and it still feels as good now as it did then. All the weapons feel nice and satisfying, and the fact that the more you play and practice, the more your flying skill really does noticeably improve, is just fundamentally satisfying. I like the fact that the game is, you know, the format of the levels is such that you're given, you know, 3-4 objectives, and then you're bunged on the map, and they're just like, okay, then get on with it. You know, you choose what order to do things in. And I'm sure that as these videos go on, I'll talk a lot about the various aspects of the game that I'm enamoured with. Get on to mission 3 then. 64%, not bad. 100 grand. So, intelligence reports a new enemy base in your area. Escort a reconnaissance plane over the site and ensure it returns safely. Okay, first escort mission. Reconnaissance Kestrel starts on the carrier and will return there at the end of the mission. Okay, so let's give a quick explanation of the escort mechanic. You can see we've got some brown waypoints on the map there, and the yellow flashy cross goes across them to show the actual flight path that the unit we need to escort, that's the flight path he's going to take. So there's two ways to do escorts in this game. There's the hot way, which is you just go pick up the escort, you stay with him and you protect him along the way. Or there's the cautious way, which is to go and clear a path beforehand. As we're in, you know, it's only like the 3rd level, hopefully we can get away with a hot escort here, so I'm just going to go and pick him up and we'll see what happens. One thing you certainly don't want to do on this game is get overly cocky, but we shall see. All I need to do is get close to this guy and he'll take off. He'll fly to the next waypoint, and when he gets to each waypoint, if I'm close to him, he will then continue to the next waypoint, and so on. He's currently going over to the right a little bit. He should turn left, there he goes. So I want to get ahead of him here because we're going to have hostiles. I want to clear the path a little bit. Not quite as far ahead as I'd like. I was hoping I could leave him at the waypoint. I think I'm probably so close that he's just going to carry on. So I need to be careful about keeping up. Yep, he's carrying on, so I need to carry on. And one thing I can do... Oh no, he hasn't. Where's he gone? Okay, he's hanging back at the last waypoint. Make sure he's safe. There's a couple of units up here. Don't want him to get too close to him. I'm largely using the map. I'm looking at the map a lot, like probably more than I'm looking at the main screen, because I'm using the map to angle my helicopter to make sure that I'm coming in at enemies at the correct angle to get the lock on with the cannon or whatever weapon I'm using. Alright, let's pick him up. Next waypoint. but... Oh, this is bad. Come on, lock on. Okay, that's okay. Now the idea here is that I just wanted to make sure that that tank, if it's going to hit anyone, I want to make sure that he's hitting me. So, as long as they're firing at me, we know that our escort vehicle is okay. It's incredibly messy, but it keeps the VIP protected. So I don't think we killed all the units, but it really doesn't matter. We're quite happy to just get through these and get into the meat of the game proper. Once he lands, we should have mission complete. Lovely, 33%, oh dear. I was rather liberal with the rounds that time. Mission 4. One of our air bases has been cut off by the enemy. You must help with the evacuation of 2 of the aircraft. Okay. One Kestrel is damaged but airworthy, so that's an escort. Second is too badly damaged to take off, so we must carry it back. Okay. Carry to the carrier. So this Kestrel is to the north of us, and it's going to fly right over that main base in the middle, which I'm sure makes great sense, and he couldn't just go around. Now, on a lot of units, and especially early in the game, we have a bit of a range advantage over these enemies. So when there's a tight group of enemies like that, you don't really want to expose yourself to fire from more than one at a time. And because of that, combined with our range advantage, it means that you want to come in nice and slow like this, because that allows you to actually get the most benefit from that range advantage. Got some anti-air units here. So again, I'm just coming around here to make sure that only that one right-hand unit will be able to put fire on me. Okay, that base is down. So we'll clear out these few. And then shooting. Fire, so we'll just use our throttle to get out of there. Man, my flying's really messy. I'm sure it won't take too long to get back into this, but it does take a while. Right, so we've got an escort to do and a carry. And what do we think? I think, yeah, I'm not going to do them together. I'm going to do the escort first and then the carry, because if we do end up getting into combat, then doing that while you're carrying something makes it a complete nightmare. one slightly annoying thing that you'll notice on the minimap there is that in this game, after you've killed a unit, the red cross still stays on the minimap, so you don't know if it's alive or dead. So you have to mentally keep track of some of that. Not really a problem on these early missions, but later in the game it can be a real pain in the arse trying to keep track. And you can, well, yeah, you can always refer to the tactical map to show you like what's still alive and what's dead and what your actual objectives are, what you've still got left to kill. Now I just want to keep an eye out for enemy choppers that might be hanging around our carrier. Looks like we're probably okay. And this game is just lovely, really lovely. And I really like the look of it as well. I mean, obviously the graphics aren't modern, but that doesn't mean they're bad. You know, it's got a very stylized look, but I think this really works for the game. And yeah, the resolution may not be what we expect nowadays, but I'm a big believer in the idea that, yeah, okay, all these, you know, the lovely looking Horizon Zero Dawns and such that we've had coming out over the past few months are obviously awesome and I love them, but I'm still a big believer in the fact that, you know, gameplay is king. So there is a unit on the carrier that we can use to top up our fuel and buy extra ammo from, but we don't need it. But we'll see plenty of that. So let's grab this other fella. So we've got to use our... oh, another press. There we go. Wrong button. We have to use our hook to pick up the plane by flying directly over it before we activate it. And then as we activate it, we just want to give a good little squirt of extra throttle to make sure we don't get pulled down and hit the ground. Because it will pull us down. There's real, I mean, you can kind of see here that there's, you know, there's a real, a genuine physics model going on here. This is one of the things that really impresses me. Yeah, this is 1994 on the Amiga, and it isn't just that this thing that I'm carrying has, you know, obviously you can see it's got weight and it swings around as I change directions flying. It swings around the way you would expect, but that's pulling me around, that's pulling me sideways, pulling me backwards. I can feel the momentum of it on the way that I fly, and I have to, you know, I have to add a bit of throttle when I'm carrying to keep my speed and direction. And so that's one of the considerations you have to make, is that when you have to carry units around, depending on how heavy they are, it can cause you fuel issues, and you have to plan for that. But yeah, it's just kind of, you know, ahead of its time really. A genuine 3D world with all this physics modelling going on. It's just not the sort of stuff that we used to see in this era. I can't remember if this drops off automatically or if I just have to disengage it in the right place. Got a feeling it is automatic when I... there we go, yeah. Okay, that was automatic. And that should be mission complete. Excellent. 52%. Plenty of cash. We've got a password. Yeah, so... yeah, there's no saves in this. You get passwords instead of saves. Every 4 or 5 missions it will give you a password. Which means that you kind of have to complete them in blocks of 4 or 5, you know. Later in the game it can be a real pain because you can put in a password, play 4 missions and then die. And that means you have to play those 4 again. You can't just, if it's game over, then you have to go back to the beginning of where that password kind of initiates from. Now we are shark fishing. fusion reactor deep in enemy territory is providing their power. Disable the reactor to hamper their war effort and rescue enslaved scientists. Oh dear. The reactor is defended by land and sea-based units, all of which must be destroyed to knock out the reactor. There are 4 mantis and 5 sharks. So I think mantis are the anti-aircraft artillery units, and sharks are gunboats. They're nasty. So this is our first... Oh, okay, we've also got 4 men and we need to rescue 2 of them. So yeah, this is our first kind of slightly nastier enemy. The gunboats have good turret tracking, a good rate of fire. We'll see one here. They will start firing on me slightly before I can start firing on them. Ideally, because their guns face forward by default, if you come at them at the front, they'll start firing on you immediately, like this. And obviously the map doesn't show you which way they're facing, but ideally you want to attack those boats from the side or the back to buy you a bit of time, because then they have to track onto you before they can start firing. So let me just remind myself of this. We've got some patrol boats to kill, POWs to rescue, and some AA sites. Right, let's rescue these POWs first. Now, one of the main reasons for doing this first, well, there's kind of twofold really. One is that when you drop off POWs back at the carrier, you get given extra health for each one. And 2 is kind of a quirk of the way the mission system works, which is that once you complete the final objective in any mission, it will then automatically end the mission and go to mission complete. So it means if there's such as this situation, we've got 4 POWs and we only have to rescue 2. So if we left that to the end and we picked up 4 guys and then landed on the carrier, as soon as 2 of them were inside the carrier, it would say, oh, well done, yeah, mission complete, and then we wouldn't get the credit for the extra 2 guys that we picked up. So as a general rule of thumb, don't leave the POWs till last if you want those extra points, and especially if you could do with some extra health. Let's clear out the area. I'll make this look easy. No doubt I won't for very long. This game does get mental. I think there's 32 missions, if I remember correctly. Something like that. It just looks like they're wearing really cozy onesies. Come on then, guys. Also, this is probably a good place to demonstrate, actually. Bearing in mind, okay, can you see I'm the blue cross on the map there, right over on the west. Now, the base I've just come from is on my left. If I fly to the left, you'll see me come off the map and appear on the right-hand side. So remember what I was saying about the heritage of this game kind of coming from Defender? Got a wraparound level. And a large part of the game is about landing and picking up humans. Kind of see where a lot of the ideas come from. And the wraparound level is very convenient in terms of a game mechanic as well. Makes it very easy to get to A to B and have different routes available. You kind of, it kind of makes you think in like an extra dimension. It's not just if something's close to an edge, then it means you can kind of shortcut to it. So I'm now, as I was talking about, I'm now going to drop these guys off at the carrier before I go and complete the Seek and Destroy. Carrier's down to the south. You largely just use your shadow to position your landings. Don't really need any fuel or ammo, so I'll just save that for another time. So now I think we've still got 3 or 4 boats to take out. A group of 4 anti-aircraft guns, which will be just up here. There are some rockets going nice and slowly. So the rockets do have very slight tracking. Their flight path will kind of bend a little bit to get onto a target, and what that means is that to take advantage of that, you want to fire them from the longest range possible, because the further away you fire them from, the more time they then have to bend towards their target. So it gives you just a little bit of extra leeway. Got a boat in front of me there. Come on, lock on. Once again, I was facing the front of the boat. He knows where I am, so I'm gonna come around and see if I can come around the other side of him. If I can start shooting him before he shoots me then. Nope. So I think we just got 1 or 2 more anti-air units. Oh, I think that might be it. We done all the boats? Anything we haven't done? Obviously there is. We dropped off our POWs. Oh no, we got 1 more patrol boat. I guess this big round thing is the reactor they were talking about. But I'm sure you can't blow them up. I remember trying on many occasions. And there we go, 55%, not too bad. Extra life, bit of money. Mission 6. Should we do this one? Yeah, this will be the last one for this video. So we've got 2 bases located close to each other. One of our bases has recently been captured. We take it by escorting a Pelican to the base. I think that's a big helicopter. Beware your base could soon come under attack. Enemy base lightly defended. The route must be cleared for the Pelican. Enemy units are known to have landed near your base. Destroy them before they can cause any damage. Okay. So that's telling us we need to prioritise that. 2 hippos, destroy them both. I think they are proper tanks. We start there, so where are these hippos? There and there. Okay, let's take care of them. Another one should be up here somewhere. Patrol boats there. There's the unit we need to escort. I don't want to get too close to him yet because I don't want him to take off. Here we go. So I'm having some trouble tracking this guy. And that was largely because So you kind of have to compensate when you're not moving directly forwards for your movement. So if I move in this direction and get some speed up, and then I rotate my direction to face another way, I'll be moving sideways. When you're moving sideways and you try and shoot something, you have to compensate for the sideways movement a little bit with your aim. So you don't want to aim straight at the enemy, you need to aim a little bit past him to compensate for the fact that you do have that sideways movement. Kind of hard to explain, but hopefully over the course of the next few videos I will get the hang of that again. You can see that largely with those boats, as long as you keep moving, you're usually okay. The most dangerous thing to do is to fly directly at them, which I'm doing. Flying laterally to them is much safer, so when you are in trouble it can be a good idea to do to kind of try and fly parallel to them and then go sideways as you come past them, and then you're much less likely to get hit. But to be honest, in these early missions we're not likely to take enough damage to have to really worry about it too much. A group of 4 here, approach from the south, making sure that only one can hit us at a time, hopefully. Let's go. Miss. Oh, hello. So the helicopter does like to lock on to buildings. Got an enemy chopper here. Just gonna chase down. You can see him on the map moving. Air-to-air missile. That will track him down and blow him up. You can see how impressive the tracking is on those. You just fire it in the general direction of an enemy and it will just keep circling them until it manages to hit them. Okay, we've got some buildings here. See if there's anything of interest in them. Nope. So we know we're doing an escort, and I guess that's probably pretty much cleared the path, so we'll go and get him. I'm not going to blow up these buildings because this is our base. Gonna keep an eye out for enemy choppers. Know that these boats are dead. Guess he should land. Yeah. There we go. Sweet. So that was a bit smooth, no mishaps, no casualties, as of yet. That's a question of when, not if. But yeah, anyway, so far so good. So thank you for watching this opening episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, bye bye.